Hey, if you stumbled across this video, there's a chance you either don't know who I am, or perhaps you used to watch me a long time ago. So I should introduce myself. I'm OneAlphaHelix, but you can just call me Drew. For the past 10 years of my life, I've been an avid fan of Geometry Dash, and for reasons I'll never understand, I was pretty good at it. I started watching content about the game on YouTube, and it was then when I idolized the best players of the game, and set a goal to one day beat the hardest level that was ever released. Though until about 4 years ago, that was seemingly out of reach. It took until I was locked inside my house for me to finally save up enough money and invest in a computer, and from there, OneAlphaHelix was born. It was then where I actually joined the community, started streaming on Twitch, started rising the ranks, and threw my social life away in the process. Speaking as someone who's on the spectrum, I never really had the easiest time making friends in school, but sharing a community with people who share the same love for the game I played was one of the best things that could have happened to me. I met so many like-minded people who pushed me to become a better self and stay committed to the game even when it got frustrating at times. It was with their help that I never gave up on my goal and ended up turning that dream into reality by beating the hardest level in the game. Except, I still had an empty feeling inside of me once I beat it. My achievement didn't feel that special compared to the ones I saw as a kid. In reality, I wanted to be the first person to beat the hardest level, not the lonely 6th person. Like, who's gonna remember 6th place, man? Thankfully, I had been gifted a chance to do just that. I had been given a perfect opportunity to right that wrong, with a level that only I had the honor of being the one to beat. People fight tooth and nail in this community to be the one to verify a level, but I just happened to be in the right place at the right time, and just like that, Flamewall was my dream to fulfill. I really thought to myself that I was going to have that next iconic reaction that reaches far and wide across the internet, and along with that, another dream of being a YouTuber partially being fulfilled with the increased growth. For 4 months, I lived that dream to my fullest potential. As I got closer and closer to beating the level, my videos and streams received exponentially more attention, eventually peaking at 1,500 live viewers. This was it, I thought to myself. It was just a matter of time until I would be the next one up and be that special someone. My flame was burning brighter than I ever had. Until it went out. That pressure of making history got to me. I couldn't perform at the level I was hoping for, and my momentum slowly slipped away. Eventually, it just got too much for me, and at the end of my winter break, I quit Flamewall, and for the first time in nearly a decade, the game I'd glued my eyes to was now collecting dust in the corner. It all happened so suddenly that I didn't really know how to feel or what to think about myself after the fact. I was happy to be freed of the burden that had become, but at the same time, I just threw away my best chance to complete what I've been after for so many years. And what especially stings is that in hindsight, the decision was definitely influenced by impulsiveness. Looking back, I definitely should have taken a break instead of quitting altogether, as even though I was losing that momentum, I definitely still had a lot going for me, even on my off days. So while I absolutely needed some time off, dropping off the face of the earth like this was one of the worst things I could have done to myself. Because I still wanted to chase those goals, but lost that confidence which separated me from the pack. I coped with this reality by starting another channel and playing games outside of my normal sphere to try and become a top variety streamer. It was cool to explore more games and be more of myself, but it still didn't help ease the feeling of emptiness that had consumed me over the past couple of months. Even with the new channel showing some promise, I stepped away again, and for the first time in 4 years, I had zero desire to make any content. It got to the point where I shut down everything and declared my time as a content creator finished, because I thought that this would be the key to ease my mind. By completely disassociating with the business, I can slowly dig out of these mental roadblocks that I've put myself in. That's the mindset at least, and it actually worked. Slowly but surely, I started to feel much better about myself. I was getting out more, seeing more of my friends, eating healthier, and started losing some of that weight that I put on during the Flamewall grind. I wasn't at a point yet where I was truly happy with myself, but I felt like I was starting to turn a corner. All was going well for a few months, but during a stretch of downtime during the summer, I started having a lot more regrets on how I left the game originally. To this day, I still really can't describe the emotion I was feeling. Was I frustrated? Was I lamenting? Did I miss streaming? It was probably a bit of everything. Just a little bit of downtime during the month of July is all it took for me to tempt fate. Streaming again had been something I had been long afraid of. I felt like I was a traitor for abandoning the project I swore to complete. Showing my face again was one of the last things I was expecting to do. I wasn't sure how a stream would go. How many people would say hi? What would the reception be like? I felt like I was staring down the barrel of a loaded gun, with the masses of people I let down, ready to fire the minute I clicked that button I had feared for so long. But I had to give it just one more shot. I will never understand how this managed to happen. After going away for 5 months, it really seemed like I didn't miss a beat. At that moment, I felt invincible. But feeling on top of the world is a double-edged sword in the short time that you're up there. It's a very unique feeling that I hope all of you watching get to experience one day, but at the same time, you have to remember that that feeling of invulnerability is short-lived. And the one thing you shouldn't do is make any irrational choices during that time. I wish I could have told that to my past self in this moment, because I didn't get the memo and wanted to make everything up to my community and go right back into my prime once again, like nothing ever happened. But of course I couldn't go back to Flamewall, so the next best option was to try and complete the level that it drew comparisons to in terms of difficulty. And at the time, it was the current hardest level in the game, so I figured this was good enough.
Because it's time for Tidal Wave.
I don't know what I was thinking, man. It was starting off so well. I was learning the levels super fast and was making quick work of the early stages. My first stream of the level pulled the same amount of viewers as my best Flamewall streams. I felt like this was fate, the ultimate redemption story. Unsurprisingly, the flame would go out for a second time. Eventually, I realized that this level is the hardest in the game for a reason, and the last time I beat the number 1 level, it took me 15 months. My impulsiveness had led me into biting off way more than I could chew, and as a result, I had backed myself into a corner as quickly as I had come back to streaming. But given how much I had sacrificed to get to this point, I wasn't ready to face the music. I stalled out for as long as I could and played other levels as a disguise, using a mind block as a low effort excuse to keep myself from having to play the level I'd committed to. I couldn't keep my feelings bottled up forever though. Just after moving into college for my junior year, I had to spit it out. And as almost as quickly as it started, it was over. This was now twice in a calendar year, mind you, where I had failed to meet expectations, and my confidence about everything in life took a big step back. And there I was, drifting in the void once again. I had made a video announcing my grand return, round 2, only to back out with little explanation as to why. The following week after this was filled with a lot of frustration, disappointment, all the negative feelings you can think of. But a new feeling emerged towards the end of that week that I hadn't really felt before to this extent. Apathy. I had just taken another humiliating defeat, but for some reason, I wasn't bothered by it. At the time, I didn't understand why it was different than the case with Flamewall. I continued to wonder for a few more months, and it was then where I found the answer I was waiting for. I just didn't care anymore. When I was at the peak of my career, continuously streaming and making content every single day to keep my momentum intact, I cared about everything. Whether that be something as simple as how my stream went, to more specific details such as trying to budget my day to maximize my growth potential. It is absolutely a good thing to be passionate about your goals. I was for the longest time. But at some point, you have to take that step back and assess where you are, and decide if this is something you really want to keep doing. When I quit Flamewall over a year ago, I wasn't done caring about content creation. I had discovered new games I wanted to play and make content about, but I wasn't being realistic with myself. I still thought I could be that next man up, and for a good reason. I had just proved that I had what it took to at the very least grow an audience around a skill I possessed. So if I could just do the same thing with different skills, I could repeat my success is what I thought. I never let go of that mindset, but when things started off on the wrong foot, I didn't know what to do, and that's what broke me. It took an entire year for me to realize all of this, but now that I have, I think I can maybe work on this channel again with a new mindset which I want to share with you all. Overcompensation is a very bad habit to fall into consistently, and this can be true for content choices, but also about you as a person. It is very hard to be unique as a creator, but trying too hard to be someone that you aren't can really drain you if you're not careful. I definitely wouldn't call myself energetic, and a lot of times during my streams, I would go completely silent.
As I was saying, how many subs?
There was a stretch of time where I did try to compensate for that by being louder and forcing more words out of my mouth, but I decided that it wasn't sustainable for me, and I'd end up exhausting myself after about an hour into my stream. And after that, I would just be a shell of myself until I decided that enough was enough. This is not me saying that being loud isn't a good thing. I mean, clearly it's working for a lot of people. But I've decided that I'm not ready for that step just yet, and I shouldn't try to force it unless I feel like I'm absolutely ready for that. If you find yourself in my case where you are trying to chase what you've lost and return to your former glory, that's perfectly okay, but what you have to remember is that you're not going to get everything back in one day. Not even close. If you're a creator, this whole business is a grind where the commitment runs way past the short term. It's super important that you actually listen to yourself and take breaks when you need to. I wish I could have also told this to my past self during the Flamewall streams. At one point, I streamed 70 days over a 75-day stretch, and I think if I took some time off, maybe I wouldn't have burnt out as fast. Consistency like this can be a great trait to have, especially as a content creator, but you have to remember to take care of yourself first. Because, believe it or not, I am a real person behind the screen. Though if you're going to remember one thing from this section, I want it to be this: impulsiveness kills. Over the past 14 months, I've had a huge shift in my interests both online and outside of this channel, but the biggest change is that I'll be studying abroad in about 5 months. And I've had a lot of fun learning a language even if it is really intimidating. With that said, I won't have all of the time in the world to work on this channel, but I'm gonna let it ride. If there's a topic, whether that be in Geometry Dash, another game, or outside of gaming in general, I'll make a video about it. I still have some unfinished business in GD though, and lately I've been beating some harder levels. Definitely go check out the streams. This was definitely a new type of video for me to make, so if you enjoyed watching, consider hitting that subscribe button as it would help me out a ton. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.